Good evening, everybody. This is Denzel Snipes, and I'm your moderator for Basketbros. However, we are going to start off on a bit of a somber note. One of the legends, and to say that is just an understatement. Bill Russell, long time Boston Celtics player coach, one of the best player coaches ever, probably the best, passed away early today at the age of 88. He died peacefully. He had his wife and family by his side and everything. You're talking about a man who's an 11-time champion, 5-time most valuable player. We did cover him on Basket Bros some episodes ago. And the basketball world lost a true legend. So not going too much time on this one, but just want to send condolences to his family. And here's to a man who was regarded as the original GOAT before the likes of Jordan and everyone else came about. But as far as the GOAT conversation, it all started with Bill Russell. So we're going to have a quick moment of silence, and then we're going to get on with the episode. All right, now let's get to it. I am Denzel Snipes once again, aka this week I'm Dr. Basket Bro, and this is Basket Bros, where we do throwback basketball all the time. We start from 2000 and go on back. Sometimes we may cheat a little bit and go into further in the 2000s, 2010s, 2020s, but only if we're trying to bridge a point from back then to now. But I don't do this alone. I never do this alone. So I just want to bring in the crew first and foremost. All the way, he's in GA by way of Illinois. He's in his car right now. I don't know if he's playing Uber or a taxi cab or what. Maybe he's trying to save a cat out of a tree. But let's bring on in. He is the pundit's pundit, your favorite pundit's pundit, and your mom's favorite pundit's pundit. Let's give it up for Jacob Krishna. Get on in here. And he's frozen.
Pundit, do not forget. Can you hear me?
All right. I can hear you. Hey, nice haircut, man. You look like Hey, you nice haircut. You look kind of like Coach Buzzcut from Beavis and Butthead.
What are you saying when you said that? Push up now.
All right. And coming in second, but definitely not second place. He's all the way from the other C-town, Charlotte, North Cackalack. And he is our resident DJ. He's on the ones and twos every week. Give it up for Basketball Will, a.k.a. DJ Willie B. Come on in here. I know he's got some good music for us. What's going on, brother?
What's up, guys? Hey, doctor. I have a fever. And I have a fever for more Basket Bros.
Oh, well, the doctor's most definitely in, and I'm with my congregation tonight. After all, it is Sunday. Well, I don't know if you felt the breeze. They say the Iceman cometh, even in the end of July. So here he is all the way from the mean streets of Livonia, Detroit, Michigan. Dom DeRubis, come on in here.
What's up? Let's go. George Gervin.
He's already ready. He's already ready. So while Jacob Krishna gets settled back there, I would like to take this time to, first of all, show the initial that as of right now on Jacob's counter, MJ and Bird are tied at 0. So we will be tallying how many times he brings them up. It's been about running gag for the last.
Wait, you forgot one extra counter we need to add for next week. The James Harden disc counter.
Oh man! You know what? If we had
Oh, man.
Hey, can you do that number? Can you do that number high enough?
Yeah, I know. Like, can anyone count that high?
We might need to hire an independent contractor and farm that work out.
Yeah, probably so. Before we continue, we do want to remind you guys that we are sponsored by the Score No Score app via Google Play and Apple App Store. And now let's get to it. And this is our Basket Bros Legend review of the week, the Iceman, George Gervin.
You're just setting this one up.
Well,
you're just setting the counter up big time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I already know it's going to start with this.
Guess whose idea it was?
So come that was you, Willie. That was one of your tracks, man.
The youngest ones.
So George Gervin was drafted in 1974 in round 3, picked 40th overall from Dom. Show him the jersey. Eastern Michigan University. He went to Martin Luther King High School in Detroit, Michigan. He was selected by the Phoenix Suns. He played from 1972 to 1990. He played the 2 and the 3. So let's see. He was a 9-time NBA All-Star, NBA All-Star Game Most Valuable Player in 1980, 5-time All-NBA First Team, 2-time All-NBA Second Team, 4 scoring titles, 4 NBA scoring championships. He's a 3-time ABA All-Star. He was drafted by the Pontiac Chaparrals. He also played for the Virginia Squires and then San Antonio Spurs. Then a merger happened, and he, of course, merged into the NBA with everybody else. But he was 3-time NBA All-Star, 2-time All-ABA Second Team, ABA All-Rookie First Team, San Antonio Spurs number 44 retired, NBA Anniversary Team 50th and 75th, ABA All-Time Team, and Eastern Michigan Eagles number 24 retired. So all averaged out, and also he's a Hall of Fame in both college and pro. He has 26,595 points. That's good for 25.1 points per game. He's got 5,602 rebounds, good for 5.3 rebounds per game, and 2,798 assists. That's good for 2.6 assists per game. So, since you're wearing this jersey, Dom, we'll start off with you. Your thoughts on George Gervin?
As you said, Detroit native. He went to Martin Luther King High. He actually struggled mightily in his first few seasons, freshman, sophomore, and junior year in high school. Like, was in danger of not making the team his senior year. He hit a growth spurt that summer and shot up from like 6'2" to 6'7". I averaged like 31 and 20 a game, got the team to the state quarters. As you said, 50 greatest players in 96, 75th team, or top 75 all-time team in 2021. He averaged at least 14 points a game in all 14 seasons and like 26.2 in the NBA. I mean, it's the Iceman, that legendary finger roll. He started out, before he ended up at Eastern, he got a full ride to go to Cal State with the Shark, Jerry Tarkanian. And, being a Detroit City boy and then being in California, he had culture shock and left after one semester. Came back to Eastern, played his sophomore year, and then in the tournament, he punched a Roanoke player, got suspended for the following season, and then got dismissed from the team.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Bit of a hothead at times. Go ahead, Will.
Okay.
It's on you, Will.
So, he actually is now a coach in Ice Cube's Big 3 League of the Ghost Ballers.
I forgot
which
about
is
that.
really cool.
Nice.
So I've been to the Big 3. I've seen him in person, and I was just shocked. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the Iceman. He played in the NBA and ABA. The ABA tried to block the trade for him to go to the Spurs, which I read. After playing several seasons in the NBA, he went to Italy and played a few seasons there. In 1986 and 87, he averaged 26.1 points per game. And this is the most shocking thing that I've ever read. He never played in an NBA or ABA championship game.
Wow. Okay, yeah, that's nuts. Jacob, your thoughts on the Iceman?
I'll give you in this way. You remember Jim Kelly, the martial artist that was in that Bruce Lee movie?
Absolutely.
Remember how smooth he was? How smooth he, his styles and how smooth he walked and how smooth everything he was, the way he talked, everything.
Yes, absolutely.
That was Gervin.
That's a great
That
comparison.
was George Gervin. The hothead thing that you talk about kind of shocks me because he just had that. He had everything he did when he was on that court. Just like the way he held the ball, the way he moved, the finger roll, the way he shot, the way he moved. He didn't move like 100 miles an hour, but everything was smooth. That's why I'll absolutely compare him to Jim Kelly, the martial artist. Absolutely. It's just, just the Iceman fits. And I will go completely and utterly back to the idea of, remember Michael Jordan, MJ, add that number 1. I will go back.
Here we go.
If
Here we go.
if there would have been an idea if there would have been the whole idea, he would have been left alone, and you would have had that. You have a little bridge to Scotty. You have a bridge to Scottie Pippen, and you have everything where you could have gotten farther, because that's a guy who scored 16 points a game with bad knees and still 25 minutes. And that is somebody that you could have really used. I mean, he still, even though it was his last year, he was still contributing. And those are the things you think about by itself. It's like he could have had a couple. He could have played with Pippen. He could have played with Pippen and had another couple years. You know what I'm saying? You just can't tell. But it's like there was a lot to go on that side. So, but I really, the one biggest thing I look at is I always try to look. Remember, Dr. J was pretty cool too. It was an era of pretty cool basketball players. You had Gervin, you had Earl the Pearl, you had Dr. J. You had, I mean, all those players, they're just smooth. And then remember, we know Rucker Park, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
And he came up in that era. And it's just like, and that's an era that's missed to this day. You know what I'm saying? It's just cool. Mm-hmm. Well, you can say cool as ice.
I mean, we take a look at, and we've covered, and what I feel was one of our best basketball what if topics. The ABA just added so much, and I think we all were in consensus agreement that without the ABA, the current NBA would be bland. Because let's face it, it was exciting, but compared to the ABA, it was bland. And George Gervin is one of the ones, along with Dr. J and others, that added to that much needed seasoning to the meat, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Think about this. How good is how good Rick Barry played. Rick Barry played ABA, did he not? Or no, is that his fault?
Yes.
How good do you have to be as a white player to play ABA? I'm saying because ABA had such a different skill set, and if you could be able to hold off on those areas, you get my point?
Oh, yeah. I mean, shoot, that's just like how good of a player as a white dude do you have to be to win a dunk contest? Because that definitely happened in 1996.
Yes. Absolutely. And those are things to think about. Is like those ABA players really did save the NBA in a lot of ways.
Yes.
For sure.
Absolutely, and and I'll go back to his profile here because he played with the he did play with the Bulls until 1986, and then he went overseas and played some ball. But I mean, but at that time period, because he was drafted in 1972. But by that time period, his knees were shot because it's like what, could he have lasted? Could he have lasted to at least that first ring? If the Bulls had kept him, do you think he could have lasted to that first ring?
No, because he was already a 16-year vet.
Yeah. No, knees were shredded.
But could they have got, had they had him and Scotty and Mike, could they have got past the Pistons a year or two earlier? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't think so, because at the time he was on the downside of his career anyway.
Yeah, but you got to realize that was another shooter they did not have until another couple of years.
Right. I was going to say, if you throw him in the mix with Scotty and MJ, you've got three guys averaging 15-plus points a game. They didn't have a third banana with Mike. They never really had a third banana. Ron Harper, but he was getting old by then.
The threes. Yeah. I mean, the third man just swapped out because who was really the third in the first three-peat run? No one, really. Who's the third in the second one? Rodman?
Horace, if you want 18 rebounds a game.
Well, right. Horace, yeah, that is true. But then what happened when Rodman came along? Horace went to the Magic. So now your third is Rodman.
Yeah, it was basically MJ and Scotty and a good rebounder and a white guy that could make open threes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Paxson, and then during the second one, Kukoc.
I forgot about Kukoc.
And then clunky white guy off the bench. Purdue, Longley,
Weddington.
Yeah. The crazy part is the year after MJ left, when Pippen had taken them to the playoffs, that year, Tony Kukoc, and this was in the Last Dance. Tony Kukoc was the clutch guy on that squad. He had hit several game winners. That's what led to Scottie Pippen feeling salty and going and taking himself out the game.
There is
I don't-
nothing clunky about Tony Kukoc, though. I was just talking about the guys that get 12 minutes a game and come off the bench.
I was going to say that was the Pink Panther, right? He was like the definition of smooth. I don't think Mike or Scotty liked him too much.
No, they didn't. Remember in the Last Dance, they said whenever they played, I think he's from Serbia or Croatia, one of those two. They said, we want to beat this dude badly.
Oh, yeah, because he had already been drafted by them, but he hadn't come over yet. And then with the Dream Team, they were like, oh, let's see what these guys made of. And he kind of shrunk.
But played good.
It was the Dream Team. Nobody was beating that team.
No, but he played decent against them.
Well, the first game he had 4 points. The second game, 19.
Right, I was going to say.
Yeah, but the biggest thing about Kukoc by itself, though, is they just hated him. That was not personal against him. They hated Krause. And Krause drafted him.
That's what it was.
Yep.
That is true. Well, this is a good time to segue into our next topic, and that is our first Basket Bros What If. Basket Bros What If. What if the 1999 Spurs play a full season? Do they win the title? Now, before we go here, it's worth noting that they did achieve the number 1 seed at 37 wins and 13 losses. They did beat the Knicks in the NBA Finals, in which the Knicks that year became the lowest seed ever to reach the NBA Finals. They were the 8th seed. Now, me personally, I think the Spurs still win. Reason being is because they had drafted a young Tim Duncan to pair up with David Robinson, and they were the new Twin Towers, and they were already grooming him to take his spot. That year, Robinson was not going to lose. He had seen his rival Elijah Wan get 2 rings already. He probably was tired of the narrative that the Rockets were the best team in Texas, So he felt like it was his time. And I think the rest of us kind of felt like it was his time too. We didn't want to see him go out like Ewing and being another great big man that went out, without a ring. Of course, he needed help. He got it. He still had a solid Sean Elliott around him. Of course, he had Tim Duncan, as mentioned before. I think they still do win a championship if they play a full season. Do I think they're the number 1 seed? No, they probably dropped to only 2 or 3, not very far. But Will, what do you think?
I think they still win the title. Like you said, David Robinson was very thirsty to win that title and was probably jealous that Hakeem got 2 before Hakeem retired. And like you said, they drafted Tim Duncan, who was a great college player and learning under Robinson. But I think the only threat, in my opinion, even though, like I said, they are going to win the title anyway, was the Kobe and Shaq Lakers.
Yeah. Yep,
because
is true.
That's when the Kobe and Shaq Lakers. Kobe was in his 3rd year. Shaq was in his 8th, I think, or 7th. And they were emerging as that team to be, because a year after, I'm pretty sure, wasn't the 3-peat.
So, yeah, the Lakers won it all.
Yeah, so it was a young, hungry Lakers team. But like I said, Spurs win the title. Dom or Jacob, go ahead.
Dom, it's on you, man.
I would disagree with your. I mean, I guess that Laker team may have been young and hungry, but they got swept. I forgot, so I went and looked. Guess how many games the Spurs lost in those playoffs?
How many? That's it.
Really?
They lost 1 game to the Timberwolves in the first round. They went ahead and broomed the Lakers, broomed the Trailblazers, and then beat the Knicks in 5 games.
And wasn't Pippen on those Blazers teams?
Pippen and Barkley, I believe.
No. Pippen was coming from the Rockets, but yeah, I think that was the first year in Portland.
Yeah, so suffice to say, they still win that title. Even if they play a full season, they probably end up with a similar record win percentage-wise. Let's see, what does that work out to? 37 and 13. 7 out of 50. 82 games.
34%.
Yeah, you're looking at probably a 59-60, 61 win team, and obviously they trounced everyone in the playoffs. So yeah, they still win a title.
I mean, if you were to double that number, that would put them at 74 wins. I'm not going to put them over the Bulls at that time period or probably ever. But I will say you're about right. They probably won about six. I'll give them 62 games. I'll give them 62 games. That sounds about fair. Jacob, what do you think?
So for one thing, by that time, Barkley was going to a time machine, asked after his mom to ask him to have him about a couple years later, so they could get all that money. So he was just getting mad, But but here's the thing. Truthfully, this is not the question to ask. The Spurs are going to win that year. It was just ridiculous. The question is, would the Knicks even have made the playoffs? No. The Knicks got hot in the playoffs. But the Knicks got hot in the playoffs, but that was an 8 seed. They weren't another 30 games. They were going to sink. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to sink. So no, I'm not. Yeah, no, they're an 8 seed. That's the thing. But they played in the finals, though, is my question. And beat, because remember, they only lost 2 games in the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the Knicks.
Who do they play?
The Knicks.
Who do they?
The Knicks.
Are we getting Are we getting a deal? Hey, are we getting a late signal from me?
You're coming in and out.
Let me tell you, I'm going to call you. Stay right there. I'm going to try to. I got an idea here. Let me come back, okay?
Okay, no problem. We'll just continue on with this topic till you get back. So, it's worth noting that the Knicks record, and mind you, guys, they did play a half season because it was a strike shortened season, but the Knicks record was 27-23. So they backdoored into the playoffs anyway,
And barely got out of the first round. They took them 5 games to beat the Heat in the first round. And while we're on the topic, I know I've said this before.
Was that Glenn Rice Heat? Was that the Glenn Rice Heat?
I think he was already a Hornet by then.
Was he a Hornet or a Laker?
A Hornet. Lakers wasn't until the early 2000s.
That's right.
What were you saying after that series?
Oh.
They beat the Heat. They beat the Heat. And then,
that was like Tim Hardaway, Vashawn Leonard, Dan Marley, Jamal Mashburn, Alonzo Mourning, Mark Strickland.
You look good, Jake.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Real quickly, what I was going to say is who did they face in the finals? Because I don't think that I absolutely do not believe the Knicks make it after 30 more games. They just got hot in the playoffs.
They did. Dom actually touched on that they barely got out of the first round against the Heat. It took them 5 games.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like they had a great run, but it's like 30 more games. I don't think so. I just don't think so. They don't.
Who'd they play in the second and then the conference finals?
They swept Atlanta in the conference semis, and they beat Reggie Miller and the Pacers in the Eastern Finals.
Okay, so that's like
I could see the Pacers. Being Pacers and Spurs.
Yeah.
You
got Jalen. I think it was Jalen Rose, Reggie Miller, and a bunch of others.
That was a pretty good Pacers squad because they made the finals. They played the Lakers. That was
Jacob,
Reggie.
Don't forget, Bird is coach.
Hey, I was going to say that.
Ding, 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 ding,
Ding, ding, ding, ding. Oh, aren't you happy?
Keep going. I'm just gonna give a little update here.
For those keeping score at home.
And in case you're not,
Jacob, I knew you were gonna like that addition I added.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm glad back up here.
I think and speaking about that squad, they had Allen Houston, Grandmama Larry Johnson. Larry Johnson was giving you 12 and 5. Who was it? Ewing led the team with 17, 9 and 2, averaging 2.6 blocks per game.
That's just a whole squad of busted knees. Patrick Ewing, Larry Johnson.
Sprewell was giving you.
You talk about some. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm saying real fast. Sprewell was giving you 16 off the bench
and a choke. Oh no, not wrong team. But the biggest thing is if there was a star, and I'm telling you this, LJ, Larry Johnson, Grandmama was a star. He was all over television. If there was a star that sunk faster because of his knees, And that was somebody, if he would have stayed healthy, he was in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
He was in New York City. He could have absolutely just shot out of the cannon. But
that's a sad story. He's one of my favorites ever.
his knees shot so fast. And it's that
You know what?
size.
Dom, you actually see a lot of Larry Johnson Hornets jerseys in the arena, and I've never really seen any Del Curry jerseys besides mine. So everyone's like, "Oh my God, where'd you get that?"
Oh my
I'm like,
God, it's Steph
Larry
Curry.
Johnson was the man, and he was very aware of his declining health because even in the last 3-4 years he was in the season, he started working on a jumper and pretty much developed one. But it's just he was on
too
borrowed
little,
time.
too late.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh. Well. Oh, go ahead, Jacob. You gonna say something?
Well, no, all I can think about is the what might have been with LJ. Seriously, as far as considering how much he was already getting, how much press and how many commercials he's getting in Charlotte. He went to
Mhm.
New York City around.
Yeah, he was one of the most popular guys in Charlotte by far. You know?
And if he would, could you imagine if he stays healthy, just how big he could have gotten? Just imagine how many Jay Leno and David Letterman and TV shows and everything he could have gotten.
Oh,
Yeah.
tons.
Breaking news in the football world: Debo just got the bag.
Yeah,
70,
I just saw that.
73 and a half for 3, 58 guaranteed.
Woo.
Oh,
Not bad.
good for him. They're staying. All right. Well, this is a good time to actually we're about at roughly the midway point of the show. So let's see here. You can download the Score No Score app via the Google Play and Apple App Store. Dom, let everybody know about Score No Score.
Well, it's baseball season only until we get to the preseason. Although I'm sure there's plenty of score no score bets out there for you degenerate, not degenerative, different word, degenerate NFL gamblers. I promise you will be able to place multiple bets on the Hall of Fame games this week, isn't it?
Yes,
Yes.
it's Thursday. Jags Raiders.
Yes. So you can go in and bet on, how bad. Why am I drawing a blank on his name? Sunshine. You can bet on how
Trevor
long it
Lawrence,
is
don't
that
you
Sunshine
dare.
needs a haircut. You can go over under on how many games before Doug Peterson is a miserable failure and gets fired. Although I tend to think he might be the sauce for Sunshine. I hope so because there's no telling what sort of damage that Urban Meyer did to that man's career in just one season. But anyways, super cool app. You can bet on pretty much anything in a baseball game, the number of strikeouts that a pitcher will have in an inning, the number of pitches seen by a batter in X number of, in one at bat, in his total number of at bats or plate appearances during the game. You can bet on, number of home runs hit, who will hit them, things of that nature. It's really cool. And they give you, with a small contribution of your own, I believe they match it. So you can go in and you can make some money and you don't have to know a lot about sports.
And Debo just got the bag, and if you're lucky enough, you can get the bag with some good picks.
Yes.
Yes, you can. Once again, it's in the Score No Score app. It is in the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. So this brings us to our next topic, which is our second part of our Basketbros What If. What if the Bucks retain Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? How many titles do the Bucks and the Lakers win? So before we get deep into this, he was sent to the Los Angeles Lakers in 1975 after what was it, 6 years with the Milwaukee Bucks, and he had already won a title. And then when he went over to the Lakers, he went on to win 5 titles with them. So it's a very interesting thought. What if he had played his whole career with the Milwaukee Bucks? He still had Oscar Robertson, but also at the same time, you got to think over on the Lakers side, Magic being drafted, he starts his career as the face of the franchise, So, we'll start off with you. How many titles do you think the Bucks and the Lakers win if the Bucks retain Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
Well, the tough thing is if he stayed with the Bucks, he would definitely still overlap with Bill Russell. May he rest in peace. And in the finals, potentially Will Chamberlain. So I would say 2 to 3 titles. 2 to 3
For the
titles
Bucks?
for the Bucks. For the Lakers, it's going to be tough because you got Magic Johnson having the pressure of being the guy. You still probably get James Worthy, Michael Cooper, and those guys. So I say Magic gets 2 titles.
Nope. Nope. Let me tell you why.
Jacob, you have a difference.
Actually, let me change that real quick. Magic gets 1.
Nope.
Ooh, Jacob, you seem to have a difference of opinion. Share with us.
I do. Let me explain. You're basically talking that. First off, I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to ask you this, Denzel. Does this mean that the Bucks that Abdul-Jabbar stays with the Bucks all his career?
Yes.
Okay, let me explain this to you right now. Number one, there is no Paul McKeskey, thank God. First off, because there's that position covered. Number 2, Sidney Moncrief comes in. There's your shooter. Number 3, all of the catching, all those guys. They come in, got all of that underneath. They're good. He's going to still get his 6 titles because he got all of those. As far as the Lakers go, they don't get Magic. Because they do not get Magic because you got to remember from it itself where is the position they're going to be at, and what is Jerry West is. I mean, there's so many things that happens from the whole deal with Magic. For one thing, Magic wanted to keep. For one thing, Jerry West wanted to keep Norm Nixon. So without a Kareem, without all that stuff, he probably gets his way. There's probably no Pat Riley, so there's probably Paul Westhead because Magic's not there.
Right.
Oh man, Paul Westhead,
So wait,
that's my guy.
Jacob,
You're looking
the
at
problem is
without the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, there is a universe shift by miles.
but Kareem would have to go. Wouldn't Kareem have to go against Bill Russell in the Eastern Conference Finals potentially?
Yeah, but because Bill Russell was gone by 69-70 as far as coaching.
Oh, I forgot about
He was
that.
gone by 69-70, and he coached. The last time he coached after that was the Kings in '88, and he stunk.
That's why
And
the
you know
younger
what?
generation is not good with these old topics.
And you know, I'm looking at the 1979 NBA draft, and you say that the Lakers don't get Magic. So, in looking at it,
Who would they
who
get?
else? I don't know. I have to do some more digging to see who the Lakers would get. But it looks like Magic Johnson would actually fall to who was in need of a guard. Well, the Bucks get Moncrief. Considering that the Bucks get Moncrief, he falls to number 7 to Seattle.
Yeah,
Ooh.
and then Seattle gets saved.
Yes.
Seattle gets saved because you see, but that's the thing. Here's the deal: no matter what, Legend put it up number 2. Legend goes to Boston. That does happen no matter what because he was already drafted in '78.
You think so?
Right.
Oh yeah, duh.
Drafted in '78. He was a pre-draft in '78, so he goes anyway. But there's no shift.
There's no rivalry then.
There is no rivalry.
That would
Because
suck.
Seattle, it'd be Boston, Seattle, not Boston, LA.
That would suck. No
Yeah.
LA Boston
No,
rivalry.
you got to
I
understand.
kind of like it.
But you got to understand the paradigm shift that happens on this, because like I said, we look on winning time, on that thing, and there was a lot of it that was real. Jerry West wanted to keep Norm Nixon. He did not want Magic.
Right.
He did not want Magic. He did not want any of that stuff. This does not happen with Kareem. This does not happen with Kareem not around. None of this. I mean, Kareem wanted help.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kareem wanted help. He wanted help. You get that. Without that, Norm Nixon stays, and the Lakers possibly have a lot of losing season.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they
Definitely.
And there's no Showtime Lakers without Magic, and with Magic in Seattle, maybe you still have a Seattle Sonics team.
Yeah.
Maybe you still do. Your thoughts, Dom?
Wow, my opinion has changed wildly based on all of your individual takes. Originally I was gonna say +2 for the Bucks and -2 for the Lakers, but I think the disparity is greater than that. Like Jacob said, the Lakers might not ever get a single one without that. Because I mean, I'm absolutely not sorry. James Worthy was a great college player, but he was a third banana on that Showtime Lakers teams. Still a great player. He was one of the first ones, and I mean, this was when I was a little ass kid, and I'm like, man, I would really like to see James Worthy on a team where he's the number one or at least the number two option, because the dude had
Right.
some talent, but I think he was. I mean, he
Overshadowed.
yeah. Well, I mean, when you're playing with two legends close to their prime, it's understandably so. But yeah,
It's the argument we have now about today's Warriors. How would Clay do on his own? How would Draymond do on his own? You know what I mean?
Well, think about this. Think about this thing also. Dennis Johnson doesn't leave because he is a shooting guard. He becomes the shooting guard. Dennis Johnson doesn't leave if Magic's there.
Ooh.
So you got Magic later on in their careers. You got Magic Johnson, Dennis Johnson, and you've got Tom Chambers. You've got you've got all kinds of weapons in Seattle.
Yeah, I hadn't even and say, you know what? That brings up another question. If he goes to Seattle, considering later on Kemp comes along,
Yeah.
and if you were to consider like how long Magic played, I'm not gonna guarantee that he's there by '96 by the time they go to the finals to meet the Bulls, but anything can happen in between time. So,
Right.
How many rings do the Sonics win with Magic?
Oh, you're forgetting one more thing. I'm sorry about that. You're forgetting one more thing. Lenny Wilkins was the coach in Seattle.
So how many rings, Jacob?
With Magic.
With Magic Johnson. You know what? Seattle might get 2.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say they're a dynasty, but they might get 2.
Yeah.
That might be fair. I mean, considering because we're in agreement that even though the Lakers will still have a solid team, they wouldn't become the superpower that they would, without Magic or Kareem. So who's the real threat out of the West at that time period? If this happens.
Oh,
Right.
Seattle.
Yeah.
Oh, you're forgetting. Here's the thing about Lenny. But the reason Lenny Wilkins did not get what he wanted to, and he got all the wins, but he didn't get everything he was going to get. He did not have he did not have too many real point guards.
Right.
To run what he wanted to. He never did.
Yes, he was a point guard person, and Magic coming along. Oh boy, that's gold falling from heaven. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He'd be kissing the floor, be like, "Oh no!"
I mean, you know what? If you think about it, everyone talks about Kobe, Phil, and Michael and Phil, and Tim Duncan and Popovich, Lenny and Magic. Good God Almighty!
You want to know who else fell? I'm talking about as far as a coach fell in the bad luck tree. Don Nelson. He was he was a Boston Celtic all his dang career, and he does not be able to get with that team. Does not get to coach with that team.
Wasn't it Warriors and Mavericks?
Yeah, but he did. Yes, but I mean, he was a Boston Celtic as far as his playing career. Just imagine if he got to have that team.
Yeah, that would have been
John Nelson's kind of a dick.
Yeah, but he might have earned it. But I'm just saying that's just that's just a big. It's like he had to build a lot of teams. Don Nelson did. It would have been ridiculously easy to just go into that team.
True.
Yes, it would have. All right. So we're gonna segue into our next topic. This is a great one right here, and that is toughest roads to the championship. So of course, every year they crown either a repeat king or a new king. But every now and again you get that one team that has a tough road to get there, as opposed to a cakewalk. You talk about LeBron cakewalking through the East, during his time in Cleveland and whatnot. And then we talk about the Wild Wild West and how much more of a gauntlet it is to get there. But I'll go first on this one, and I'm going to sound biased. But when I was sure, I already knew this, of course, because I'm a fan of the team. But I happened to go to the website and they had it ranked number 1. But of course, this is an opinionated, show. It's an opinionated network that we're at and everything. And so I'm going to say the 1995 Houston Rockets.
Are you kidding me? You use the same website as me?
I'm gonna say, but we didn't have the same pick. I guarantee you, We had the same pick. I picked the 95 Rockets. Coming off of an NBA championship, they went 47-35. They were the Western Conference number 6 seed. They currently hold the record as the lowest seed ever to win the championship. And they eliminated 4 50-plus win teams to get there. The Jazz, Suns, Spurs, and the Magic, becoming the first team ever to do so. And is what prompted Rudy Tom Johnson to say his most famous quote ever, never underestimate the heart of a champion. So my pick, the 95 Rockets. Will, I know you're super excited. You're busting at the seams here. Go ahead and give us your pick.
I had the same one, but I'm going to change. I actually luckily had a backup one. The 1993 Chicago Bulls.
Nice.
Jackass.
Me, a jackass. Are you surprised? The 1993 Bulls faced the 43-39 Hawks, the 54-28 Cavaliers, the 60-22 Knicks, and the 62-20 Suns.
Ooh.
So the only real easy one per se was the Hawks, but everyone else way over 500.
And I mean, and to add a note before you continue, that 92 Bulls team was a missed John Paxson 3 away from Jordan's first ever Game 7.
You mean 93?
Or 93, yeah, excuse me.
Yeah, so that definitely was, yeah, like you're playing against Barkley, you're playing against Ewing, you're playing against Dominique. Like, dude, come on, that is a gauntlet. Like, I agree, the Rockets was definitely a gauntlet. The 93 Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Who knows? Because Barkley could have won a ring.
You know what? And before we continue, I'm going to throw a one-man question at you, Will. Okay, a one-man question.
100%.
This is a quick on the spot Basketbros what if. All right, first time we're ever doing this on the spot. Okay, if they go to Game 7, do the Suns win the finals?
Who has home field court advantage?
Chicago.
I think it goes back to Chicago.
Chicago still wins it. They're in
Okay.
their own arena.
I think the Suns had it.
The Suns stopped them in Chicago Stadium to get to Phoenix in Game 6. So that's not guaranteed.
I
Right.
think the Bulls win barely.
That's right, Jacob, because Barkley had a hell of a Game 5 to even get there.
Yeah.
But let me bring this. I'll tell you this part. I was joking with Will, obviously, about his thing because mine was a 92, 93 both. But
No,
mine,
I know.
Mine was a different reason, though. Mine's a different reason. That team, first off, through that couple months of the 92 season of that 92, 93 year, they won. They had like 4 blowouts. Everything was on a shoestring. Everything. Then they get to 93, miserable most of the 30 months. Miserable. They had their first ever losing month with the Phil Jackson from that time. Like they went like 9-10. Just went like 9-10 in that time. They were losing at home to losing teams. They were getting worn out. They had picked up Rodney McRae for that shooting touch. Off the bench to get hit for 15, 16 minutes, and he had end up having for those 18 minutes like 3.5 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
He was just, he had to kind of bomb out there, and then he got hurt for a little bit of the time. Then what is that noise?
Will in his paper.
Will crumpling paper.
No, but anyway, though, then when Rodney McRae got hurt, they picked up a bunch of CBA players, like say Joe Court, and a couple of others picked like for 5-6 games at a time, and those guys did absolutely nothing. So it made Michael play way extra.
There's a Michael reference.
Yep. So, but
I got him.
Saying it made them. This was a very. Then they got hot, but the thing is, truthfully, you wonder what they do in the first round with a tougher one. Because in truth, Bob Weiss, as a Atlanta Hawk, was a terrible coach.
Right.
Yep.
So it's like you got that, but it's like you're talking about that. But Bob Weiss was a very nerdy, boring coach.
Yeah.
Very
nerd.
Yeah, very much so. Very nerdy, boring coach, and it's like he did not fit on that Hawks team with some talent.
Yeah.
I agree.
So yeah, the Bulls, and I mean the Bulls without a shadow of a doubt. And then I bring up to get to the championship. I bring up '87 Celtics. They sweep the Bulls, but then they sweep the Bulls. They have 2 Game 7s and then a jumper away, from a third Game 7.
Wow.
So it's like, yeah, they had
Crazy.
it's Milwaukee and gets Detroit.
Yep.
That's crazy. Dom, who do you have?
Bit of a wild card here. I'm going with the 2001 LA Lakers. It doesn't really seem like they had that tough of a road because they gentlemen swept the Allen Iverson-led Sixers in the finals, but combined opponent win percentage in that playoff, 66.8. They swept the 50-win Trailblazers in the first round. They swept the 55-win Kings in the second round, and then they gentlemen swept the 58-win Spurs.
What is a gentleman's sweep?
4-1. I hate that term. I hate that term because it's not a sweep.
That's the 2003 Pistons finals over the Lakers, gentlemen's sweep. Like, here, you can have one. We feel bad. We're bored. We're lazy. We want to win at home. Here, go ahead, have this. We don't need it.
It's not a sweep. You just fell asleep. Go ahead.
I call it the tennis term. Stick.
Oh,
yeah.
It's
like winning a set in tennis 6-1 instead of 6-0. Like, it was an absolute dominance, and you double faulted 3 times, and then tried to hit a drop shot from the baseline, and it hit the net.
So you win Nick Kyrgios.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was not obviously not a fan of that Lakers team. I don't like Kobe. I don't like Shaq, and I was a huge AI mark. He did all he could. He got them to one victory. I believe the one game they won was the Tyronn Lue fadeaway jumper and then the step over. But he just didn't have enough.
Dom, give me that hoodie.
I'm gonna find a better one, and you can have that one. I want one that's less pixelated.
Would you actually send it to me?
I will if I get another one for sure. Remind me to I'll bring it down at Christmas, and the only way you're getting it is if we meet up. There's your deal.
Oh, I hope.
There you go. Here's another one I want. Oh, Dom, keep going. I'm sorry, man.
Oh no, I'm good. That was it. I really would have liked to see a more competitive finals that year, but AI just didn't have enough help.
No, he did not. He dragged
Mutombo
was dragging the team to the finals. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you had guys like Eric Snow and Aaron McKee in the finals along with you.
And
they
then you
won
had
game 1, and then it was
Mutombo.
almost as if they won game 1 and they forgot who they were because then they turned right around and lost the next 4.
Can I say something real quick? I don't know if I'm not trying to sound rude, Jay, but it reminds me that Mutombo, when he was still around on that team, reminds me when Hakeem played for the Raptors.
Yeah. We don't count as Raptors. We don't count that. That didn't happen. That never happened. I'm petitioning the government to strict that from the record books. He never was a Raptor, y'all. We don't count that.
Here is the question about Mutombo, but I'm going to say this. Was Mutombo absolutely the oldest looking rookie in the history of life on Denver?
Absolutely. Yes. He predated Greg Odom. Go ahead.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
That's perfect.
There was another team that I did want to kind of bring up as part of a general discussion, and that is the 2009 Lakers. Now, the 2009 Lakers, they beat the Jazz in 5. They went 7 against a 54-win team, Houston team, and then they beat Carmelo in 6 games. Now, they beat the Magic in 5, but should they have made this list?
Speaking of the Magic, they beat 3 60-win teams.
Yeah. That same Magic squad. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, wasn't that Dwight? That was Rashard Lewis.
Yes, it was. But I don't know. I guess I asked that question because they beat the Magic in 5 games.
Magic got outplayed. The Magic got outplayed.
But they had some weapons on that team.
They did.
There's no question of that. Oh, no Manute Bol. No Manute Bol. I heard a story the other day that, like, the way Charles Barkley first met Manute Bowles, he saw him walking around naked in the dressing room. Could
Oh,
you
God.
imagine looking at that big broomstick, that big naked broomstick walking around that dang place? That
Oh,
would weigh
man.
about 190 pounds.
We're gonna get banned for this.
Hey, if I can't say naked broomstick on a podcast, I don't want any part of the podcast world.
Right.
Naked.
And much worse before we join Sideline Sports.
Yeah.
One more that I wanted to bring up before we go into the next topic is the 2005 San Antonio Spurs. They ran through a 49-win team.
Don't
Nuggets
remind Dom of that.
win Supersonics, 62-win Suns, and a 54-win Pistons in the finals. Should have been on the list.
Yeah, they don't win that finals if someone thinks to check a guy named Big Shot Bob.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true.
No, we'll just leave him open. We'll just leave him open. He's not going to make that. Oh,
as if he's never done that before. Oh wait,
No,
yeah.
And then we ran down the court immediately, and Rashid chucked up some brick three from like 25 feet that barely grazed the iron. I'm like, well, that's it. Threw my flip flop to
real
TV and
quick
turned it
before
off.
the last topic, was it the 04 championship that Chauncey hit that like full court shot?
Yes, half court.
Yes.
To send it to overtime.
Was that NBA finals or
Conference finals, I think.
okay?
Well, you bring up like the checking Big Shot Bob and what if. Here's another what if things. Like we'll just do our thing for a bonus. Just imagine if we brought up this thing about Michael MJ with the Cleveland Cavaliers thing in '89. That we bring that up. What if he doesn't push off Larry Nance to go against Elo?
Who was the next open man?
No, it would have been Nance covering him. He went to Elo. He pushed him off. That would have been Nance. Nance averaged 3 blocks a game that year.
It was a push off easily.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
And I'm just saying it was a good, smart move. It was a good, smart move, but Nance averaged.
He got away with one.
He also pushed off that
one.
Jazz guy.
Actually, if you slow it down, he didn't. He was on his way down.
Serious.
I thought that for years and years. Go back and look at that play because he explained it on the Last Dance, and I was like, you know what? Let me give this an honest look because we watch it in game speed.
Yeah, you have to.
And it's like, oh man, he should. No, he actually when Jordan crossed him, that was his own momentum that sent him over.
He made a really hard cut and he had his hand out, so it looked like he shoved him, but he was already falling down. He may have hooked him there.
Yeah.
But no, the thing is, I'm just saying that I think it was a brilliant move on Larry Nance to go after that. No way. That's the guy has 3 blocks a game that year. That was a brilliant move to think like that because who thinks like that with 2 seconds left?
True.
Into the lane. He does that to go against Elo, who was not going to block that shot.
No, he wasn't at all.
We have last 2 topics. No, I was just saying we have 2 more topics, real quick topics.
Yeah, I'm just gonna we'll try to squeeze in as much as we can.
Let's make up a video game while we're at it.
Say again?
Let's make up a video game.
I actually put one in the private chat. I think we'll probably cover it in the last 2 minutes. But here's another one that I think it was right there. But best and worst arenas / stadiums.
Did you say courts also?
Yes.
Well, I didn't. I kind of didn't do courts because it kind of mixed in. But I mean, you know what? We can blend it into this one. We can blend it into this one.
That way.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely going. I'm just saying this. The Hemisphere Arena at San Antonio. That ugly ass blue out of bounds area with all those beautiful, all that beautiful black and white, the black and white uniforms, and that ugly ass Hemisphere Arena with that stupid hemisphere in the middle of the circle in the middle of the court. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And then I was never a fan of the Mecca.
Oh, the Mecca.
Milwaukee.
Oh, okay.
It just looked like a video game.
What about the best? What about the best, Jacob? You're gonna love my best.
Not what you think. Not what you think. Because Boston Garden predated air conditioning, so it was a big home court advantage for the team. So I'm not saying Boston Garden. Plus there's too many areas in there.
So who is it?
You want the true Chicago Stadium?
That's my pick. Chicago State. But for me,
They were the first to have music. They were the first to have music for the.
Have you been to Chicago Stadium? That place was a dump.
It was a dump. But the reason
Totally
why
lit.
my pick was less the stadium itself, but more the crowd.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
But no, what I'm just saying though is the excitement of everything. You got to realize I wasn't going to say Boston Garden because there was it was very hard. There was too many areas where there's just like little planks that you can't see anything. Plus, it predates air conditioning, which looks fun on TV, which would be hell to watch in person. The court was always needing to be repaired because it was old as hell. So yeah, but no, I love the old atmosphere of Chicago Stadium, both hockey and basketball.
I didn't really have a worst one. My other best one is the Forum in Inglewood. It's just something about that really, really. I mean, that wasn't normal stadium lighting. I mean, it was white light, like you know what I mean. It was
Hollywood because it's Hollywood. You got to
exactly.
But bringing up what I was saying, the Mecca, it looked like an 8-bit video game cord that hadn't been made yet.
So I'll go real quick.
It was ugly.
I'll go real quick. My top two are Madison Square Garden. Historic games are played there. You got guys dropping 60 plus. And then you got Staples Center.
Nice.
I like Staples Center. The worst one?
I'm sorry, the Forum was better than Staples, just the atmosphere.
Yeah.
I agree. I can see it. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I definitely agree with that. Sleep Train Arena. The Sacramento Kings. Oh my God. So boring. Even the name, Sleep Train.
Hey, Arco Arena was even worse.
And you know what's even worse?
Terrible.
And I'm not saying this is a bad arena. I may have to go to it eventually. Is Paycom Center where the Thunder play. Nothing against Oklahoma. They just took the Sonics away from Seattle. That's what I hate.
No.
Baltimore Civic Center.
Yeah. Terrible.
Dom, go ahead.
Arco Arena. I've seen a few of those games watching the old type stuff. They're like, the old feed. They played the same 4 songs the whole game at their halftime, including the dancers using that. And then they had the same dogs to have in the races. They were the most boring atmosphere in basketball.
Dom, go ahead.
Not to mention the product on the court. As far as best, and I don't like the team and a lot of their players, but Boston Garden's iconic, the parquet floor. I remember being like 5 or 6 years old and asking my dad, like, what are they even talking about? Like, I mean, this was in my absolute infancy as a basketball fan. I'm like, what's special about a parquet floor? And then we watched the game. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Like I said, I was never a fan, but wasn't a great stadium. It's just the floor looked really, really cool. It was unique. As far as worst, it's a tie, separated only by, thank God, the Palace. The worst ever, by far, I don't care what anyone says. Anyone that said anything different is wrong. Worst ever is the Silverdome. That was not even a good stadium to watch football at. It was just a gigantic plastic bag. And then when you had a Pistons game there, like they rolled in some stands. Everything in the upper bowl was just blocked off.
How could you? Hogan slammed Andre in that building, bro.
What blocked off? Only time
it was great for wrestling, and at the time, I mean, shit, they had the record for like 30 years for the largest crowd at a sports or sports entertainment event. And also, I am really not a fan of the pizza box. It's not good to watch a basketball game. It's the pizza box, Little Caesars Arena, the slice.
Oh.
It's just, there's nothing. I mean, if you ever go on Google Earth sometime and go and look at the outside of it, you'd never even know it was an arena. It's just a rectangle at the end of a bunch of office buildings. You go in there yeah, it's new, it's nice, there's a lot of amenities, but when you get into the actual arena,
I heard the Amway Center's garbage where the Magic play.
When you get into the arena, it's just like they tried to pack as many seats as they could into a small space because, real estate in downtown is at a premium. It's really sloped down, and those red seats, I thought they were really cool at first, and I was like, wow, those are such an eyesore. And the first couple of years, the Wings and they're still struggling to sell out games for either team. and they actually put a bunch of black seat covers on a lot of the red seats, so it wasn't so obvious how few players were there. But I mean, I love the Pistons, and I really like going to games, but you'll never. I mean, even when we get good again, you won't see me with any sort of season ticket package. I'd rather watch the games at home.
Well,
And the parking is.
So should we go to our last topic, Jay?
Hold on, Jake, real quick.
go ahead.
Oh no, Jake, you were gonna say something. Go ahead, real quick.
You and I just made a complete opposite thing there, Dom. It's like you would have thought I would have said Boston Garden. As a kid, that would have been a dream. Okay, as a kid, I would love that. I'm in Illinois. I'm not going to Boston. That wouldn't happen. But just looking at those older games now, I'm talking as an adult, not a kid. I mean, just the views. The views were miserable. The court needed to be repaired all the time. It didn't have air conditioning. If you're there during the summer months when there was playoff games, obviously.
It had to be miserable.
It'd be a sweat shop, a sweat box.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're in the last minute, and I had kind of a last minute topic here. We kind of merged in best and worst arena stadiums along with courts. But for our last one, our Basketbros retro game, NCAA basketball '98. So this one had Tim Duncan from Wake Forest on the cover. Probably the best feature about this game was the momentum meter. So it was to a home team scoring consecutive baskets or making a big play, and players of the momentum gaining team receive a temporary boost to their abilities. Awesome game. It made way for others in the March Madness series, which I feel they need to bring back. So Dom, your thoughts, because we're pretty much the heavy gamers here. So your thoughts on NCAA '98?
I'm trying to think back now. How many years ago did EA quit making college basketball?
I think 05.
Actually, no, that was NCAA 10.
I was going to say, I think it was like
the best one.
2010, so it's been gone for like a decade. I'm going to be 100% honest. I don't necessarily remember playing that game a whole lot. I think I played the ones more so in the early 2000s, but I know that it was on basically the same engine as NBA Live, so I'm surprised I didn't play it more. I didn't run across a lot of college basketball fans that were also gamers until I got to college. So that was like 01, 02. But I played the NBA Live games going all the way back to Genesis. So once I found a group of people that were into playing college basketball too, I loved it because we were all college basketball fans, so we knew who was on those rosters and what teams to take, and just super cool game. And I do remember the momentum meter, and I'm like, I was kind of blown away by that because I was like, wow, this is kind of like a real game feel, like being inserted into a basketball game. And I don't remember anything like that in the past. It was unprecedented.
And it was
you start hitting shots, and then the other team, like their pressure goes up, and they'll throw a pass out of bounds, and it's like, yes.
Yeah, and it actually led to the momentum meter for NCAA football games, to where if you're the home team and you mash the button real fast, you can make the crowd roar louder. And before a play, the quarterback from the opposite team may actually call the wrong play because other players can't hear him. Right. But Jacob, if you played this game, man, your thoughts about it?
Sure did. And like the thing about the momentum meter was really cool. But here's what's so funny about this. I could not hit an outside shot to save my life. Could not hit an outside shot to save my life.
Oh, so like real life.
I know, yeah, but it's like, but no, it's like I could not hit that outside shot. So let me say part. I did a lot of Loyola Marymount type stuff with that thing. I just like threw the ball down the court, trying to find the open man and get a quickie. Let's just say I never had I never had a shot clock violation on that game.
Nice.
It's like, but then it always came from the fact that I don't think I ever hit a 3-pointer on that game. It was just always twos, and I would just, down there in like 3 seconds because that's the only way I'm going to hit a shot.
All right, Will, your thoughts on it? If you played it or heard of it?
Never played it, but I looked it up real quick. I'm going to finish this real quick and say it was, I think, the sequel to Coach K Basketball.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's all I know.
Well, We are out of time. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to Basketbros. Shout out to Jeffrey Lightfoot from LinkedIn. Thanks for tuning in and for your comments, brother. I actually wanted to touch in on one comment you said. The worst one was the old Baltimore Civic Center. It's crazy because that reminded me of the one in Baltimore, the old Memorial Stadium. It was all old and run down. It was called the world's largest outdoor asylum. It was rickety, and it actually was what led to the move of the Colts out of Baltimore. But yeah, his comment actually reminded me of that. I wanted to touch on it real quick. But again, thanks everybody for tuning in. Will, let everybody know where we can find you.
Monday nights during the season, NBA Carousel. Thursday night, sip-off. Saturday nights, occasional guest on the Gauntlet. Sunday nights here.
All right, Jacob.
Well, Monday nights during the season on NBA Carousel. Tuesday nights, Confidential with most everybody of the whole wide world except JB, who's now free. So we have that. Thursday night, the Pundits Pundit with you and Jen. We have an awesome show this week, by the way. So many great deals there. Working on possibly Eric. I'm doing a little negotiation with Eric to get on NFL Carousel. Possibility on that, and then Sunday nights here. So everything's going well on my end. Plus, quite a few other projects.
All right, and Dom.
Oh, a lot of the things that that my co-host said. NBA Carousel, NFL Carousel, Sip Off. You know, you got the Gauntlet with me, Jay, James, and Joseph Jenkins. That's 7 p.m. on Saturdays. And if you don't know where to find the four of us, I don't know what to tell you.
Because we're right here.
We are right here every Sunday, and we got one more comment here. All right, yeah, no doubt, Jeffrey. Here, Confidential Tuesdays. I'm producing. Also got JB Ellis will be back this week. He has been found. He is safe and sound. He's currently going through court proceedings to get his charges dropped for selling bootleg unsweetened lemonade at Myrtle Beach, and and then also
he can do alcohol. His girl has got him snipped. He can do alcohol.
And also Thursdays pundit myself, Jacob Christner, and Jennifer Matthews Lewis. Also the Gauntlet. We will be back on Saturday with the real crew. The real crew. It's going to be myself. It's going to be JJ and Dom. And in case you didn't peep the hashtag at the bottom, free JT Shiesty. Keep your head up, brother. We coming for you. We're going to be back full force, full horsemen. And also Sunday nights right here with the crew, Basketbros, myself, Will, Jacob, and Dom. And I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. And this is Basketbros. See you next week.